All right, cool.
What up, Ben?
So apparently
What's up,
we've got
guys?
some tinfoil hat type scenarios going on right now
Okay.
You
with
know VOC?
yeah, Vox in the channel right now.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah. I know of
Howdy.
Bach. His name is third person. I really dig that.
I actually didn't even notice that. Yeah, that's funny.
What's up, man? I hope you weren't too offended by the shit I was saying.
No. I loved you. You guys did a great job. I liked it.
Yeah, that was really.
I take no offense to anything.
Yeah,
Alright,
he's
yeah.
cool.
I'm glad you showed up because I was the one that was lined up in case you weren't gonna show.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
right.
You had such great synergy with Norse. It was like, oh, so glad.
That's
you
why I
showed
wanted
up.
them both. I knew that they'd be really good
Right.
together
Yeah.
for sure.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Yep, that was solid. Like, completely.
It felt good. I
Like,
felt like
what
we
we
answered mostly questions and stuff.
Right, you went through the layout basically, and if I even felt you missed something, it was readdressed later.
Yep.
Like
yeah.
I was like, dude, it was so good. Like,
I'm not gonna lie to you. I have a little cheat sheet that I wrote up on Notepad with like the agenda and what we were talking about and kind of my little 2-cent things that I was gonna throw in.
Nice.
right
nice.
on.
What's up, Diggity? Yeah, that's why I like to give. I think that the way I really enjoy the way the podcast is going. I like giving a weeks ahead of probably 5 days ahead of time the agenda that we plan on talking about. Get the input from the community. Add anything the community has. I think it's way more involved with the community. The guests that we've had so far have been awesome.
Yep,
I'm
exactly.
loving it. I'm fucking loving it.
The
And then
ProLab
just gotta
guy
keep
never
it-
says anything,
the
so it's
ProLab
nice.
guy just sits
Just
there and
sits there and
stares and
smiles.
smiles and laughs. Like what?
and laughs. It's like, fun.
Fucking Mad Hatter over there had me fucking
Oh, that's
rolling.
good. No, you guys are doing really good. We just need to continue the strategy of get the people to speak to their strengths. You know, get the right guests. Don't
Oh, yeah,
push
for
guests
sure.
into something that they're not strong in.
I
Right.
really want Ziz in the next podcast. I think wrapping up the league is perfect for him, hardcore perspective, and then we get somebody. If we can get Ziz and Mathel, hardcore and softcore perspective of the league, God, that'd be so
Well,
good.
It
But-
would, but like I don't think we
I
pulled
don't
that
think it's
string
gonna
yet.
happen.
The strategy I like so far is what we've had in the last two. The pattern is the synergistic. The guests that are synergistic, right? They know each other. They played together.
Actually,
for
Ziz and
years.
General Sows, they just did a AMA recently, and I think they jived really well. Actually, I thought that was pretty cool. But either way,
Right. But
either way,
we ready for tinfoil hat time?
yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Okay, so
Finishing
I'm
my
gonna break it
salad.
down for you, and feel free to point out any areas where I'm crazy. This is the method that I've been using to craft stuff, and a couple other people that I know who have done well wealth-wise have been using to craft stuff. Basically, it can be summarized as metronome crafting. And so I'll start out with the method, and then I'm going to explain why it works. So crafting on a 120 beat metronome, which you can use on YouTube, on the 10th beat and analyzing between the 10th beat. So bump, 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 chaos, bump, 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 chaos, like this, and identifying between the beat. You'll hit 4-stat chaos spams 383% more often. You'll hit 5-stat chaos spams 171% more often, and you'll hit 6-stat chaos spams 150% more often than just chaos spamming naturally. And I'm going to tell you why this is. So back in the alpha, on the alpha forums, one of the original bugs that was reported was that affixes were timable. And I'm going to explain how GG fixed that at that point in history. This was over 3 years ago.
Real quick. Can you move the microphones away? Because your implosives are just blowing out the speaker every time.
Oh shit! Yeah. Tell me, is it better now?
And
Yeah, sounds
before you
good.
continue, like when you talk, we didn't talk about these numbers that because we've had this conversation, right? But we didn't talk about these numbers that you have now. This 383%. But what is that based on? 383 of what you're saying?
Of just
Of
cast
getting a
spamming.
4-prop mod that's favorable, or
Correct.
what's your
Correct. Of reaching a 4-stat item that you're going to continue to craft on, versus just using cast in a completely random fashion.
right? Okay, I was
So,
just
like,
trying to get the of what 383 off of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
When I explain how I think it works, then you'll start to understand why that is. So a long time ago, the rotation. Okay, so let's just start out with how affixes are assigned to properties. So y'all understand how everything in the game is an affix, right? Every prefix, every
Yeah.
suffix, every stat, every gem, every percent of quality, every skill point in the tree, every item in the game is an affix. Yes.
Yep.
And we understand how affixes reside in tables. Some of the tables are complex and some of the tables are simple, but the tables have to be efficient, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so we understand that the utilization of currency has to be under 30 milliseconds in latency and occurs on the server, right?
Well, I don't know that portion.
Well, we do, right? Because you've never seen currency desync. If currency
Oh,
wasn't
I
a
get what you're saying.
server-side
Okay.
generation,
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes
Okay.
sense. I've just never heard
So-
that
That
time
method.
before.
Yeah.
well, correct, because the fastest latency that anyone is ever going to have in a connection to a GGG server is going to be 25 to 30 milliseconds. And if you look in game, if everybody is in game right now and you hit F1, your latency is going to be displayed in the top right-hand corner. And currently, I'm
Right.
hovering at between 30 and 50 milliseconds, depending upon packet loss from my connection to the California server.
Right.
Right.
Okay. So currency utilization is all server side, which makes it we want it to be, because server side
Yeah.
currency utilization is
Yeah.
the most secure
Yep.
form of currency utilization.
Has to be, or else it would be
It
some
has to.
fuckery going on.
So when currency is used, it has to assign. Let's just stick to a Val Regalia for the purposes of the conversation. When currency is used on a Val Regalia, let's say an alchemy or a chaos specifically, the server has to assign 4 to 6 affixes to that Val Regalia in less than 15 milliseconds to be able to feed the affixes from the server within the latency period back to the user so that users can utilize currency efficiently. Got it?
Okay.
Mhm.
And this
still
also
follow.
has to be so currency assignment server side must be a very simple and efficient and fast process. So the programming restrictions on currency assignment and the assignment of affixes to items must be something that's A, efficient, and B, speedy. Okay, you all with me so far?
Yeah.
Yep.
So the best way to assign currency, who knows how it's done? The GGPK was mined back in. The GGPK has been mined a number of times. One of the best mining of the GGPK was done by the Taiwanese creator of PoEDB in 2014. And if y'all don't know the PoEDB, someone can link the PoEDB website and stream the
Yeah,
English
I've seen
version,
it before.
preferably. The Taiwanese version and the Taiwanese forum associated with the PoEDB has more information that English-speaking PoE community doesn't really understand. And so around the time that I broke metamodding to the community, these Chinese people started contacting me. And these Chinese people started to explain to me their attempts to try to time, again, I don't do anything that's outside of the terms of service. So
Yeah.
their legal attempts to try to time mods to improve their utilization of chaos and their utilization of scour alchemy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things that they were doing at the time was metronome crafting. And so now I need to describe a little bit more of affixes. So PoEDB shows the statistical likelihood that an affix will occur on a property when a piece of currency is utilized, right? All affixes are determined independently but simultaneously. Do you understand the independent determination of the affixes and the simultaneous determination of the affix? And you understand how those two words both apply? Has anybody got questions about independent or simultaneous?
I don't think so. I think I'm still tracking.
So now I want to be able to try to explain this mathematically. Everyone would need to watch an information theory video on the Khan Academy called Markov Chains. So the Khan Academy,
Yeah,
I'll find
I'm
this.
familiar with Markov chains.
Yeah, I'll find this video and I'll link it. If you just Google Markov Chains Khan Academy,
Right. I've seen Khan
here it
Academy
is.
before too. I'm familiar with both.
Yeah, you can link it in the chat if you want.
I've never watched that video, but yeah, you can link it.
So I just linked in the Twitch the Khan Academy Markov Chains. If you watch this set of videos on information theory, you'll understand more about what I'm talking about. But basically, affixes can be influenced with Markov chain mathematics in terms of how they're applied. So back a long time ago, the tables of the affixes would rotate at a fixed rate across the server, and would rotate at a fixed rate, would rotate consistently, and would increment at a fixed rate. You following me?
Yep.
Yeah.
People were able to use 2 or 3 chaos orbs to determine where on the table they were, and then successfully, even within a 30 millisecond latency time, the best window to shoot more chaoses to try to hit a certain statting of an item. Right? And this is the same thing like trying to count cards into a deck in blackjack. And so years ago, GGG solved that by having the server clock, which seeds the Markov determination of the tables, rotate. Fucking J-Dog. See, I tried to explain this to J-Dog, and then he got all.
Yeah, I was about to say J-Dog
asshole.
just found. I just saw J-Dog in fucking the chat.
Yeah, good. I'm happy to talk with him when he's like behaving himself. Okay, so the GGG, what they did is they made the server clock, which seeds the Markov chains, which would determine randomly the affixes for RNG determination for affix assignment under currency use, which used to be the same across every server and every instance. 1, they made it instance dependent, and 2, they made the seed vary between 3 milliseconds and 15 milliseconds server side in terms of the rate that the affix would increment up or down the table. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm still following. I'm just trying to figure out how you're taking advantage of this.
I'm gonna get there.
Yeah, I know. Go ahead.
So
I'm listening.
The increment, and if they increment between 3 milliseconds or 15 milliseconds, a player is never going to be able to notice that unless they have a connection to the server which is faster than 15 milliseconds. And no one has a connection to the server that's faster than 15 milliseconds. So it solved the problem. And they weren't able. The bug abuse ticket on the alpha forums, and J-Dog has access to these alpha forums, if I remember correctly, was closed. Again, this is years ago. So people figured out how to get around this, or not get around it, but how to utilize this knowledge to their benefit now. Okay, so now I have to give you a visual image of Markov chain affix assignment using quick table generation from server clock seeding, so that everyone can understand what I'm talking about. And for the purposes of this, I'm going to use a roulette wheel. So imagine that you have a roulette wheel spinning, and let's say this roulette wheel has a ton of segments. It has the number of clickers, click, 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 click on the roulette wheel is much more than a normal roulette wheel. And we have a number of clickers equal to the statistical likelihood that an affix can occur on the roulette wheel. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
So in other words, T1 flat fizz ES might have 3 clicker segments equaling its statistical likelihood, and T2 ES might have 7 clicker segments, and then every other affix that could occur in that place has a proportional number of clicker segments equal to their statistical likelihood that they're going to appear. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And this it's a table, but for the purposes of this discussion, I want you to imagine it as a wheel. And also, you need to understand that the segments are not randomly assigned to the wheel each time. In other words, the table isn't regenerated each time. It's the same freaking table.
Oh, it's static.
And so the position of the clicks is the same every single time. Now, while the position of the clicks is the same every time, they're not next to each other. So in other words, the 3 clicks, the 3 segments where the little white roulette ball could fall into that would give you T1 ES, they're not immediately next to each other, but they're at the same places on the wheel. Does that make sense, everyone?
Yeah, so you're saying they don't follow in succession. Like if you were going to hit one, they're not one
Correct.
after
Yeah,
another.
exactly.
Right?
But they are at the same place, and we know that it's randomly instance based that they're going to cycle through that click in every 3 to 15 milliseconds. We don't know. We think.
Let me go on a limb
idea
here
is-
before you get into it. If you were to find one of the affixes when you're doing your chaos spam, if you then follow the metronome, are you able to predict, like after you hit it the first time, then you go off the metronome
That's what you were able to do in the alpha, but no, because in the alpha you can't anymore because they click along it between 3 they click along as fast as 3 milliseconds and as slow as 15 milliseconds, and your latency to the server is at best 30 milliseconds.
Like
So
the roulette wheels, yeah, every time you go into an instance, the roulette wheel scrambles the numbers available on the roulette wheel, and then
Yes.
it's you can't see the roulette wheel at all, like the numbers on it.
correct.
But also it's expanding the numbers that are on the table.
Correct.
Like,
But the roulette wheel spins at a
pretty-
consistent rate.
But it
It's the
spins
same-
consistently. That's the thing.
Yes.
It resets
Gotcha.
itself.
It spins consistently at a variable rate, and the roulette wheel is the same for every instance. All that changes is the rate at which the roulette wheel spins. Does that make sense?
Right?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So now I'm going to talk about how. So imagine you're in a casino and everyone's played roulette at Vegas, right?
Yep.
Imagine if the little ball's bouncing along the roulette wheel, right? And it's actually better than a ball. I'm going to get to that part. Imagine if I could do one thing to the roulette wheel. Well, I make my bet, and then I could slam my hand onto the roulette wheel to stop it. How much
Right.
better a roulette wheel player would I be?
You'd be in jail.
Yes, I can do this. I can do this in PoE. Okay, I can
Right,
slam
right.
my hand on the roulette wheel, and I'm going to start to tell you how. And the second thing is, there's not a ball on the roulette wheel; it's a laser beam, and I can shoot the laser beam. Okay, and I'm gonna talk to you about this in a little bit more, but we need to talk a little bit more. So every set of affixes that can rolls on the roulette wheel. Okay, and so let's imagine the next thing we need to imagine is that every time you use a chaos orbs, you're gonna stop 4 to 6 roulette wheels. You got it?
Yeah, sorry, I'm listening. I'm switching my mics.
Yeah, every time I use a chaos orb, I stop between 4 and 6 roulette wheels. And so what you need to think about is there are 6 roulette wheels spinning in every instance. They're all 6 roulette wheels are spinning on one axis. And whenever I use a chaos or an alchemy, I shoot a laser beam, either a red, green, or a blue laser beam. The red laser beam shoots 4 of the roulette wheels. The green laser beam shoots through 5 of the roulette wheels, and the blue laser beam shoots through 6 of the roulette wheels. And every time I use a chaos orb, the two very quick, efficient things happen. First, the color of the laser beam is chosen, and second, the laser beam is shot. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And what little clickers it shoots through are the returns that I get onto my item, right? And the variability, each of these roulette wheels is at a different position on the axis every time I create an instance. So they don't always start like at 0. You understand? They all spin on the same axis at the same rate, and they increment between 3 milliseconds and 15 milliseconds each time. But they all they don't all. Roulette wheel 1 might start at 0, and roulette wheel 2 might start at 120 degrees, and roulette wheel 3 might start at 180 degrees. And so 2 random things are determined by the instance: where the roulette wheel starts on the axis for each of the 6 roulette wheels, and the rate at which the roulette wheels increment each increment. Right?
Okay.
Okay. So. 7 people in game are telling me to fucking shut up right now. I love it. Oh yes, we're having a good day. Okay.
And I'm
So-
streaming. Take that, motherfuckers!
Uh-oh.
And I'm using, so while I'm spamming this chaos on this Val Regalia while you're talking, I'm using the metronome. Now I do have a question. Does the 10 beats per second, does that start when you chaos, or do you have to hit it at a certain point?
No, it doesn't matter. Okay,
You're trying to-
get to.
Yeah, you're
So you're
just trying to
casting,
click a
waiting 10
long-
beats, casting, waiting 10 beats, casting, etc. It doesn't matter when you
key,
start.
The key is being precise on a consistent, right?
Exactly.
Because then you get the pattern. You start hitting the pattern,
So basically,
right? And you have to be really precise with your clicks on the beat of the metronome. That's the
so
key.
and let me explain why. So this culminates in if you know everything and you believe the tinfoil that I just spat, and you know everything that I've just told you, you have 2 ways that you can use a chaos orb. Either you can use a chaos orb randomly, or you can deterministically come up with a methodology to utilize a chaos orb, which will be guaranteed to give you an equal proportion spread over the possible affixes. In other words, do you want to return a completely random set of affixes every time by just chaosing whenever, or would you rather chaos and get a proportional return? And the answer is, of course, a proportional return is, if you're trying to deterministically hit something, is going to give you a hugely better return of that something that you're deterministically trying to hit. Do you all follow that?
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah. So
I lost you at, hey guys, you want to hear something?
So here's what matters. It doesn't matter how fast the roulette wheels increment along the axis. As long as and it doesn't matter, you can't apply the chaos quicker than 15 milliseconds. So the rated increment is never going to be, you're never going to desync chaos server side, because it's capped at 15 increments, right? 15 millisecond increments.
Okay.
So as long as you consistently apply the chaos to the items on like a 120 BPM or 180 BPM metronome, you will see a proportional return. And this is because you'll see a Markov proportional. So in other words, if you look at, like, let me tell you exactly what point in the Markov video you want to look at. Like, your return should look like, it should look like this. I'm gonna snip it.
Bell
Wow.
curve.
Yes,
You-
it should be
you
a
need
bell
to-
curve.
You need to buy a pop filter, my friend.
I don't
Use a
know what that
sock
is.
or something. So there,
you're
there's,
telling
there's
me my
Yeah,
my
it's just-
$12 microphone is not a
You ever
Not
see
You-
see people recording and they have that thing in front of them?
you know it's called you know what plosives are, right? Like your P's, your
Yeah.
B's, your plosives. Every time you do a plosive, it's like
Dude,
And a
that's how
pop
you
filter stops
fucking
that.
spit those nasty beats, bro.
Yeah, that's right. He's beatboxing right now.
No, you got a pop
Hey,
filter.
Nation.
If nothing else, we're getting some sick beatboxing out of this.
Someone's gonna take
I
out,
can
like, a
definitely
hologram
tell you
recording.
that I've calf spammed shit before, and I've calf spamming now, and I can tell you that I am seeing way higher, way better prefixes and suffixes than I've ever seen.
yes.
Like the tier
Yes.
1 energy shields that I've gotten so far have been kind of insane prior to calf spamming just randomly.
Yes. You're gonna
You're
get
really
It's
gonna-
somewhat,
you're gonna-
I mean, it might be tinfoil hat, but it's pretty much working. I mean,
on 4-stat to get on when the cast returns a 4-stat item, it's going to be 383% better. This is the real math behind it. It's going to be 383% better
another
on
tier
returning
1.
4-stat items. It's going to be 171% better on returning 5-stat items, and 150% better on returning
Okay,
60% items.
What's the metronome need to be at?
The
120.
metronome, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Wait,
You
what?
just need to click. The speed of the metronome doesn't matter at all.
It just
Because
helps you keep the rhythm.
Okay.
Right.
yes,
It's all about
because as long here's the thing, as long as the wheels, think about it in terms of an engine. If the wheels, let's say the wheels spin at 200 rpm, 300 rpm, 400 rpm, 500 rpm, 600 rpm, 700 rpm, up to 1500 rpm, and you're going to shoot a bullet through the wheel, right? Let's actually think about it like that. Let's say I have an AK. Let's say I have a Barrett 50 caliber, and I've got a plate spinning at between 100 and 1500 RPM. If it doesn't matter the rate at which the plate spins. If I shoot 100 bullets on the 150 cals on the 10th beat through those plates that are spinning, and I go and I shoot 100 at 100 RPM, 100 at 200 RPM, 100 at 300 RPM, 100 at 400 RPM, and I shoot at a 120 BPM song, and I use Sandstorm for this personally. Sandstorm works really well. But you'll have the plates, the targets, at the end of that 50 caliber session will all look the same. They'll all have an evenly spaced number of bullet holes in the outer perimeter of the disc. Does that make sense to everyone?
Good
Yeah.
analogy.
And that's what you want. You don't want to have a random set of bullet holes in the disc at the end of shooting 100 bullets. You want to have a bullet hole on the radius of the disc surrounding the disc. You want to have shot off the rim of the plate. And that's what this methodology allows you to do. It allows you to consistently. Do you remember when you would go to like the little the fairs and you would have to shoot out the star of the target?
Yeah.
this lets you shoot out the star of the target. And the star of the target is a Vow Regalia or a Titanium Spirit Shield or a Sorcerer's Club, which you can sell for 10 to 30 exalts. So now we've used this, we've been moderately successful. We've probably made 550 mirrors over the past couple leagues with this method. So maybe 700 mirrors, using mirrors as a measuring stick, not
Right,
actual.
right, yeah, of course.
So, but we don't know anybody else that has been using this to craft as successfully. And my goal in outing this right now is to have Chris fix it. And I'm gonna tell you how to fix it right now. There's two ways that you can fix it. You can have the increments of the wheels increment at different variable speeds. So if every wheel, one let's say increments at 3 milliseconds and the next one increments at 5 milliseconds, and each of the wheels increments at different speeds for each instance, that's one methodology that could fix it. And the second way of fixing it is instead of shooting one laser through 4, 5, or 6 wheels, you would shoot independent lasers, but that would slow down the speed at which it would return, and then potentially there would be a little bit of lag in the use of currency, and players would go nuts because they like to be able to spam currency. Now, I'm going to blow your minds right now. While this is true for Chaos, it's also true for every other form. So if you want a 6-link chess, Metronome 6-link chests are going to return, or it's going to be 100. 6-link is always a 6-beat return. So you're going to have 150%. You're going to use 150% less fusings 6-linking on the metronome method than not.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Hot
just
dog getting a stiffy.
were you excited and angered when I taught you how to meta mod correctly? Good. Now, all of you, I've spent my tinfoil. Tell me where my logic is wrong.
Well, I don't think we can disprove it. That's somewhat of the problem, but
Your bullet's wrong.
I'm not saying disprove me. I'm saying you have had the same access to the GGPK mine stuff on the forums that I've had to for 3 years. You've had the opportunity to go look at it. You understand generally the math of how everything in the game is an affix and how affixes are applied. You understand Markov chains. You understand how the only way to apply affixes in under 30 milliseconds is to use a server clock as a seed to some form of Markov return, and how the server clock with Markov chains is the best and quickest method to do that. So,
a funny story. I've been doing the metronome thing, and I've been rolling the chaos, and I've been wondering. There was like comments like show how it works, and I'm like, I've been fucking chaos spamming this whole time. I had another window over it.
yeah. Anybody can go do this. You can do this with an alt. You can see that you're going to get, like the guy that talks about, like if I want to hit merciless, or like I sell a ton of like merciless, malicious, paragons, glyphic 1-stat things for 1 to 2 exalted. Like I've sold 35 glyphic platinum Chris's this league, and this is how I made the glyphic platinum Chris's, because glyphic is 1-stat, and if I've told you it's 383% greater for 4-stat, how much greater, boys, do you think it is for 2-stat or less? Alt-orbing platinum Chris's this way easily returns malicious, merciless, glyphic, runic, destruction, unmaking. I
don't know about anybody else, but all I can say is I've never ever been lucky cast spamming anything, and I've spammed it like everyone else that didn't know about this. And just cast spamming this so far, I've hit T1 energy shield with T1 in and hybrid 3 times with a 48% res. 3 times. Yep. In the past 100 chaos.
Exit.
I'm laughing because
I don't have any X. I need to go buy one.
I just looked this up, and guess who's got a glyphic ambusher for sale for 80 chaos?
I have to say,
it's VOC.
he can't be wrong. Like I said, I've cast spam shit all the time I've played this game. I've never been lucky, and in the past 100 chaos, I've been more lucky than anything. I tried a different beat. I tried 160 beats per second because 120 was too slow. I tried 160.
Yeah, because you have the brain power to assess it faster than that. Some people will, some people won't.
Right. Like when I see 53 int, 32% with hybrid roll, 140 ES, and 48 lightning, I'm like, okay, stop. And then I just paused the metronome. I guess I could just let it go, but the clicking somewhat annoying. I want to slam it. I need to go. All right, fine. Let me go buy an X. I already slammed one
Now-
that was like that prior, and I got a fucking max mana. Is there a
Now,
thing to
someone was
slamming?
Someone was talking about the rush. Is someone using programs to do this? And I know what there's a certain Black Hat Russian group. And so what they've done is they've gone and bought mechanical keyboards that have less than millisecond latency, and they've bought piezoelectric actuators, and they've put up piezoelectric actuators on the key outside of the game, and they've actuated the utilization of chaos. And so it goes like this. It's all one-step things. So theoretically, it's within the TOS. So what it does is it shoots a chaos, then it Control-C, Control-V to a notepad, and the notepad reads outside of the game if it's a good roll or not, and then if it's a good roll, it removes it stops chaosing, and if it's not a good roll, it chaoses again. And in piezoelectric actuation, they're able to use a chaos every 32 milliseconds, and they're able to just automate the generation of items. They can produce Val Regalias that should be slammed with an Exalt every 15 seconds. Titanium Spirit Shield, Sword Gloves. So
I'm
someone
curious to know.
asked in your stream like what's happening. That's what's happening now. That gets onto the slippery slope of they should be banned for that. But if you look at some of the Russians that have there's a couple Russians who outpaced our wealth. Like I posted a screenshot of one of my guild members' wealth last week, and it was the most upvoted, downvoted screenshot this league. It had 5,700 votes with 51% downvote.
Craft Mastercraft.
You had
I saw that.
5,000 votes on that.
5,000
It still
votes.
has
Damn.
0 points.
Yeah.
There's a 50% up and down vote. Where was that? I want to pull up that that
Wow.
link.
Yeah.
I think I
then
found
the mods removed it
Really?
afterwards. Yeah,
Why?
they don't.
Vok, I'm curious, Vok. I'm curious how you guys substantiated
I found
when you guys generated proof of this. What were you using to get these percentages?
I
that you spit out?
didn't say that I'm giving you proof. I said I'm giving you tinfoil, and you
Right.
guys. My proof is I have, my group of people that I associate with has generated thousands, hundreds of mirrors, tens of thousands of exalts, and wealth.
But I mean, even though
We're
even though this
comfortable
is
that we're doing
compelling-
better than the average bear. And
even
I'm
though this
not
is
trying to be-
compelling stuff,
Paleo said lucky. I'm not trying to be lucky. I don't want to be lucky at all. I just don't want to randomly use chaos. I want to consistently use chaos. I want to get a true proportional return of what can be
You
returned.
want
Yeah.
the
I want to
distribution.
know that when I've used 1,000 chaos, I've seen a 1,000 in the increment of what could return, not a random.
Is this one guy's loot?
That's
Yeah,
one
this is-
breachman.
Oh, this
Oh,
is one
sh-
breachman.
Shh. But yes.
Hey, and by the way,
If you looked up
we
plus
can't-
one skins on PoE trade, it'd take you all of 5 seconds to figure that out.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to be the subject of a Reddit shitstorm. So yes, this is a tiny cartel of less than 3 players' wealth.
less than 3, so you mean 2 players?
He has 15x.
Now you're on the inside on the joke.
Yes. He has more and 68 blessings of Kayula. A good
let's just go-
1,
I mean,
2,
let's
3,
go
4,
through-
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, +1, Skin of the Loyals, +1 Shavs, Headhunter Endurance.
Did it really
right?
get
That
taken
stuff's
down
all
off Reddit?
that stuff's all impressive. But
I
I mean,
see it.
even though it's compelling stuff, it's something that I would need to
Oh, yes,
understand
10.
how you've come up with these numbers. Which you said you don't want to provide proof. You're not willing to, or what?
No. How did I come up with the numbers? The
Yeah, like
numbers
you
are
have these
straight-
percentages that you're basing
Yeah.
the.
It's a straight mathematical derivation. If I look at a complete random return versus a proportional return, I just did the math, right?
Well,
for
I'm just
value,
asking,
I'm
what are
giving
they
you-
derived from? Is it basically chaos spent, total chaos spent to achieve these results?
It's not. It's an empirical derivement. It's not a derivement from what I've seen. It's a mathematical derivation.
Okay.
I'm giving
so
you
you
the
pretty
numbers.
much
The numbers are different for every item. I'm
this is
giving
an
you the numbers that are-
extrapolation. Is what you're saying.
No, it's not an extrapolation. It's an empirical mathematical derivation.
Okay.
And I'll tell you how to do the math. How you do the
Okay.
math is you look at a random return based upon the statistical likelihood of every affix versus a proportional return. So if you assume it's a random return versus a Markov chain return. And what I'm trying to get is a Markov chain return. And if you use the same statistical likelihood of the affix, and you say plug that number as a statistical likelihood into a completely random return, and then you say plug that number into the return if it's a Markov Belled return, in other words, a Markov proportional return. That's the math for based on the percentage of the base affixes of a vowel regalia.
Okay, so just to kind of reaffirm what we've talked about, not that it really matters too much, but so you're saying that pretty much anyone could use a metronome to time their chaos spamming, and they could see these results essentially just by doing the spam in accordance with the metronome. They wouldn't really have to do much more than that.
Yeah, if you make to see it, you have to make there's still a huge amount of RNG even at a 383% improvement.
Yeah.
You got to have a massive sample size.
What I'm trying to do, I want to get 4-stat Val Regalias that then I can metamod and complete with exalts. That's my goal. Now, if I happen to chaos ban a good 5 or 6-stat one, great. But that's not my goal with this method. My goal is to get a craftable one, or titanium spirit shield, or sort glove.
Master mod at first.
Because I have I have hundreds and hundreds of exalts in standard where I could just
don't
fuck
slam
around.
that without master modding and blocking a suffix, my friend.
Suffixes are full.
Yeah.
They rolled like a really low stun recovery, I think.
Oh, it's not a hybrid.
It's not hybrid?
Oh no, never mind. You're right. Oh shit, I almost fucked up.
Yeah, put a suffix.
There was one prior to this that was different. Sorry. Yeah. I actually almost slammed it. No,
I'm watching you float over. I'm like, what the fuck's he doing?
Yeah, that thing is sick.
Yeah, this was the third one I've had like this in 100 chaos. I don't know if that's extremely lucky, but there are definitely. I've chaos spam shit before, and I've went against it because I've just stopped because I never was lucky, and I'm like, fuck this shit, just throwing chaos down the drain. Now, is there a method to exalting it?
No.
Should I exalt it at the 10-beat metronome?
In order to exalt on a 10-beat metronome, you need basically say 20 chests lined up right there, and then you get the metronome and just start dropping X.
Yeah,
or the ability to scour it quickly.
I got life.
So you Eternal X on a metronome then?
Or you can bow on the metronome.
Kind of a gamble. Fuck no, that's crazy. I mean, I guess I could.
Hydra, and he'll make it good for you.
Oh, hey, that's a good point. Dicey. Fucking Valley.
I see all you people saying empirical is not mathematical. I'm talking about an empirical Markov determination. So, yes, empirical, not using math, but using what we know about Markov chains and assuming how Markov chains work in computers, not empirical based upon my experiences using chaos. But yeah, once you've crafted over 10 Val Regalias using this method versus whatever you were doing before, you're probably going to see that this method it's less tinfoil than you might think.
So here, I got an idea, and I don't know if I'll record this on stream or not, but I'll go get I have tons of exalts in standard. I'll go get 10,000 chaos, split it into halves. We'll go 5 and 5, and I'll do metronome and no metronome. And you think that in that sample size, I should see some sort of at least evidence of it working in that sample size?
Yeah, I think you'll start to. If do you have 10,000 chaos to blow into science in standard?
Yeah, dude. I have tons of cash here. It's a waste of time. I don't care about standard at all.
Go for it.
All right, but you think that it'll? I don't really even care if it pays off. I don't care if the 10,000 chaos lights on fire. But you're saying that I should see the results in that sample size. So
hold on, is Splaff in chat the same Splaff that's like Holston Splaff?
Yeah,
the guild members. Yeah, Splaff is a. Hold on. Yeah, does he agreeing or not agreeing?
He's saying that your mathematical is not empirical.
Yeah, that's what I just explained.
Does not add up. Yeah, that was him.
And why did you decide to tell everyone? By the way, Buck, what was the rationale behind?
I'll give you the honest. I'll give you the honest.
Caffeine.
So the honest reason is in the past. First of all, the real reason is people are using it now more than just us, and we want to cut them. We want to make it. If there's tricks, we want the tricks, and if other people have the tricks, then I'm going to tell everybody. So then that'll cut them out of their ability to compete with us on other parts of the economy.
If I can't have this by myself, I'll burn it all down.
I think it's this is just my personal views on it. I actually think that what you guys do is smart. If you're able to come up with a method that works, and the information is held secret. I actually think that's cool. I like that people are rewarded for the information that they gather throughout the game, and if they want to hold their cards close to their chest, that's cool with me. I don't mind. But I think maybe it's just a little bit borderline treading into territory where maybe GGG doesn't want people treading. But I'm glad that you at least say, hey, we're making money off this and we want them to fix it, because basically,
Well, are you saying that people shouldn't be allowed to hover their currency over Kaduku before they use it? Is that some territory? I'm just using chaos
doesn't
in
really
a
have any-
method that
that really
that
doesn't have any
seemed
bearing of how they
smart
use it.
relative to
Shit
to
favorite
program.
on Kaduku. Yeah, no, I mean, what you do, like I said, what you guys do is smart. At the same time, I don't think GG intended anyone to get that close to their basically understanding how their system works. It's kind of like
Yeah.
almost exploiting,
But they've always they have said multiple times in the past that they always wanted this game to be that kind of game where you use everything you have to your advantage.
Yeah,
They have said
that's
that
so
multiple
weird.
times.
that's where I'm kind of conflicted.
That-
I
me
agree
too.
with that. I like
Like-
that GGG says that. I like that they want people to be smart, and I actually say that on my stream all the time. So glad that people have information, they're keeping it to themselves, they're learning things, and if they want to share it, that's cool too. It's fine. It doesn't matter.
But this is, I'll tell you what, this is another reason why the alpha bug report forums should be public. Because the origin of
People with
this
alpha
concept-
access are the ones that are getting in there.
No, I mean, the origin of this concept did appear on forums from 4 years ago.
But I'm just saying,
Just like the origin, the whole wand dagger thing. By the way, Chris responded to a guilty of mine today and said wand dagger is going to get fixed. But
Oh, so it is still bust.
yeah, Abdar emailed him. If Abdar is in stream, I don't know. And Chris responded to Abdar, confirming that wand dagger is a bug and wand dagger will be fixed. But Gouda showed that wand dagger was possible in a video a year and a half ago, and people didn't start massively bug abusing it until 3 weeks ago.
I'm just saying
No,
that
Splash
basically
been doing that.
venturing into that territory is almost an exploit, like basically exploiting the shit. It feels close,
I agree with you.
but like I said, I don't hold any malice towards what you guys do. I think it's awesome that you guys, hold your cards close to your chest. You're not giving any secrets away, until you feel like you've profited and kind of exhausted that method. I think it's cool, man. I don't hate you guys for that. Like when the metacrafting stuff broke, I was probably one of the very few people that was saying that's fucking awesome that these guys knew about that. It sucks that you didn't. The only thing I ever said negative about you, VOC, was that I think at one point on Reddit, you either knowingly or unknowingly lied to the community about scouring off suffixes with the master or the metacraft.
No, that was Venter.
Was it Ventor? Okay.
Ventor.
Somebody did.
They
I
both
thought it
start
was
with a
you.
V.
Venter and Gouda.
Yeah, close enough.
There's three people unknowingly, but that was part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one thing to mislead the community. It's another to have information and just not.
Back
But I
then-
truly think
Think about back then, it was so pricey to experiment.
Yeah,
Right?
that's
With
true.
the masters, that people like me, I was like, fuck. If somebody's like Gouda's saying that, it's like this, am I really gonna invest to try and disprove him? Nah, I'll just take his word. for it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
That's
and
what
also,
I did.
even
Like,
with
for
these
real.
so-called revelations through today's being on stream and here in Discord, I can honestly say that I guarantee you, even the people that are into making a lot of money on my friends list, I guarantee you 90% of them won't even try what you just said on stream.
I
So I
know.
don't think you even have much to worry about anyways.
Exactly. It won't. But it's my hope that it gets fixed. Okay, I'm going to drop another. This is less so. I gave you my most tinfoil-y idea first to go out and try it. I mean, let's say I'm completely wrong. If everything I said is just completely batshit crazy, you're still just cast spamming stuff. You don't lose anything from trying. Okay.
Right.
So,
Next,
wait, how do you do the wand thing? I forgot.
Oh, so you gotta equip 2 wands, vendor one of them, go out into the zone, drop the dagger on the have auto equip on,
Okay.
and then go out in the zone, drop the dagger, and then pick the dagger up, and it'll auto equip into the main. It can't auto equip in the offhand; it'll auto equip into the main hand. So you gotta sell the main hand wand, have a dagger in your inventory, go out into the world, have auto equip on, drop the dagger, pick the dagger up.
That's
I,
pretty
I
interesting.
actually don't want to be the
Alright.
huge guy that.
Hey, what?
Okay, so I'm gonna give you the next thing. In this, so I've used not a tiny cartel has used this method, this league, to make. It's hard to say, maybe 30 mirrors. So, I've Cholula is a tier 2
There we go.
unique. Okay,
Dagger wand. There you go,
So-
stream.
you can chance I have Cholula from a an Onyx base with less than 300 chance orbs. You following me so far?
Oh, hold on, say that again. I was. Go ahead.
Eye of
Sorry.
Chayula is a
Yep.
tier 2 base. You
Okay.
can chant Eye of Chayula from a white Onyx amulet with about roughly 300 chance orbs. Everybody following me so far?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, today,
Whirling blade with the wand.
Today, +1 curse Eye of Chayula's instantly sell for 4 mirrors. People are trying to, people are asking 10. And
Wait, I have
there's
Sheila's or presence of Sheila's?
+1 curse presence of Chayula's.
Okay, you said I.
Yeah,
but
Yeah,
I got
you
you.
said
yeah. And +1 curse max res Chayula's are selling for 2 mirrors, 2 to 3 mirrors today.
Right.
Just to give you an idea of the price. And we knew it was going to be something like that.
Yeah,
So,
of course.
if you go into Valorb, anybody that used a blessing of Chayula on an Eye of Chayula, which was you'll notice that the Tiny Cartel has a lot of blessings saved up, and I'm going to explain to you why. It's because we have tens of thousands of chance orbs in standard, and we're just gonna collect the blessing part, and then we're gonna make a couple more in standard. So what do you think the math is to Val a +1 max res or a +1 curse presence of Chayula?
It's probably
1%.
1 in 200 or something. 1 in 100, somewhere.
One
in
in
that range.
1%.
one in it's 1 in 151 for
that's what I
+1
figured.
curse, and 1 in 173 for +1 max res. Okay.
Well, is that by the DB odds? Because those odds are different. They're
Give me-
close. They're close.
That-
But
I mean,
Yeah,
Tail Bunny
they are
literally just
different.
confirmed exactly what he just said. So obviously the math's somewhere.
Yeah. So but Talaman, I can get it to 1 in
I
60.
called him Tail Bunny.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. So hold on. Does Splash? Do you know how to get it to 1 in 160? Was Holston doing it right? Actually, yeah. I want to know. Was Holston doing it correctly? I don't think he was. So you can get the odds. You can double the odds to return +1 max res or +1 curse. And so what you do is you go and buy a quad tab of Onyx amulets under eye level 19. So they're all under eye level 19. So a quad tab is 4 times 144. What's that?
okay, so before you go on though, amulets chance to valve by the DB is 0.66% for +1.
Yeah, I'm gonna explain to you why
res.
that's.
So
I'm gonna
you
explain to you why that's wrong in a little bit.
You're just
Okay,
doing the typical. It cuts the Vol Orb implicits off when you're using a lower eye level, even though chancing bypass eye level, that kind of shit, right?
Correct. And so you bring your ability to hit the +1 curse up to 1 in 70, and
Yeah.
+1 max res goes to 1 in 53.
So how's the DB wrong though?
The DB is not wrong. How you're applying the math to this concept is. I'll tell you more about that offline, Dice.
Okay.
So, but if what I'm telling everybody right now, the big part, what I want to give away is it only takes 300 chance orbs to hit a +1 presence, and Onyx amulets are free. Let me explain why they're free. You can make a new character. You can buy every eye level amulet from the vendor. Delete the character, make another character, buy every eye level amulet,
Right.
and then you can use the Onyx amulet, which is a red gem, blue gem, and a green gem, plus an amulet makes an Onyx amulet that's clean.
Yeah.
And then once you have 576 of them, you can chance 576, and you'll get 1 to 2 presences, and then you have to go and you have to use 1,728 wisdom scrolls. Lets you scour every single one that didn't chance right. And then you chance 576 again, and then you use 1,728 wisdom scrolls to scour using the RBG plus amulet equals clean Onyx amulet.
That's a lot of work, but yeah, I'm familiar with that as well.
Okay, using this method, okay, it's a lot of work, but the return is 118 exalts an hour. So if you do the work. So it's a pretty 118x an hour is a pretty good work for a bitch boy, and we just put bitch boys to doing this work, and we give them 20%, right?
Yeah.
And so
Pretty good.
and we have a lot of bitch boys who are willing to take 20% of 118x just to provide the bases. And so how we do it is you then use the blessing and you vow the ones that are eye level 19 or below. And so yeah, you're gonna get 1 in 70 at +1 curse and 1 in 53 at +1 max res, because you cut out
Right,
purity,
right.
clarity, +1 frenzy.
Yeah,
and
that's
you
pretty
keep,
common knowledge.
here's the other thing: you still keep 15 to 20 minion damage. So you keep 3 super good mods.
Keep the good ones and dump the bad ones. That's why you do a level
Someone,
1 character.
someone from my chat was like, "Can I be a bitch boy?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just curious about the logistics behind getting this many. Like, where do you find these people? Are you just advertising in global chat or something, or you guys got a
It's-
forum?
Probably just friends of
How are
friends.
you
VIP.
recruiting all these people?
It's
We have
VIP.
2
They've been
Ah, I
around
got you.
forever. I mean,
Yeah, we're
Right.
like
Yeah.
we're still the oldest running. We have 2 capped guilds, 2 guilds at 250 people.
Wait, are you in VOC? Are you currently in TIP?
Yeah, yeah. It's
Oh,
like
okay.
I say it's my guild, but it's not my guild because if I was in charge, no one would join it. But it's Kick-Assed's guild.
that's people
So-
leave.
Dude,
I'm a scrub in this guild, man. Like I know they make fun of me for like being a complete scrub because the guys in the guild this league were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 to
Did
100 in
Vox sell his
VOC.
account?
Who?
Did Vox sell his account?
I'm
Who's
Vox.
this
He is
guy?
he is Vox.
No, that's what I'm saying. It was a joke. They're saying.
I
Who
don't
is
I don't
this
hate
guy?
you guys for this stuff, man. This
He's
is
all
all
like,
fine by me. I preach this
"What
stuff
the-"
in my stream all the time. The only thing I blatantly have kind of a large amount of disdain for is the market manipulation. Kind of sucks for a lot of players because it affects the people who aren't making, 10, 20, 50, hundreds of exalts, whatever.
I want to speak
That
to you
kind
about
of
that.
sucks.
Like there were a number of people who I know and are friends with were accused of manipulating various Chayula portions of the economy. But let's take an example of one of our guild members who corrupted over 3,000 Skin of the Loyals this league and sold over 2,200 Skin of the Loyals. So when you get on and start selling corrupted Skin of the Loyals that you don't need, are you market manipulating or are you setting the floor?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you kind of have to set your price, but
You have to set the floor to be able to keep the turnover of them.
right. That's like I have a frequenter of my streams. You guys know Snowflake is viable. That guy. You guys know him.
Yeah,
Yeah, Snowflake will come in the chat and talk about it. He's the guy that does the Merciless and Uber Labs. He doesn't do Merciless anymore, but he does the Uber Lab. He gets every single day he gets the jewel, so he gets to set his own price.
yeah.
So I'm kind of familiar with. I'm not. That's not really the source of my disdain. It's more so the large market manipulation. Like if one guy's doing it on one item and he has thousands of them, that's fine. He's got to set his price. He holds the monopoly.
But
when it's dudes that are blatantly manipulating different, like 10 to 50 different bases and types of items, and they're running all the ES gear and everything else, or
And
they
the
have a
guy-
large impact on the chaos to exalt ratio because they're holding huge amounts of stocks,
Yes.
like the biggest flippers. That kind of stuff can be, in my opinion, very detrimental to the economy and the player base as a whole. A lot of these guys are casual players that are never gonna, get up to that level, and it really impacts their gameplay, which is kind of it turns people away from the game.
Let me respond to that. First of all, I agree with your assessment and your talk about how the market manipulation. I don't want to use the word manipulation. I want to say the market fluctuation affects the player base significantly. But here's the other thing: we want to optimally coordinate within our guild, not to just dump against each other. We don't want to affect each other, so we try to work like if we're ever going to move out of exalts, we're going to do it in a waterfall fashion so as not to severely affect.
That makes sense.
And when we're moving out of and into things, and definitely this league, like the reason exalts were 40 to a chaos were because mid-league you didn't want to hold exalts or chaos at all. You wanted to hold pieces of the Chayula economy because the return on the Chayula economy was 300% a day in some cases. So every day you held an exalt, you threw 3 exalts in the trash can. And so that's why exalts were worth so little, because anybody who had an exalt was throwing 80 chaos in the trash every day.
Yeah,
Because if they had
I
gone
think
into
Norse and I realized the value of the Chula on like the second day. We were like, holy shit. That's why Norse was running Chula right away.
Yeah,
we all
we-
piled our splinters together, and then he just kept going from there. That's where he made a majority of his wealth this league.
there are people who ran Chayula this league 1,200, 1,700 times. And you got to think about, we're at the same time, they've got another account legally sitting outside of the game doing 300 to 1,200 trades a day. On a slow day, 300 trades.
Right.
That was one of the things I want to talk to you guys. Like, how many trades did you guys do a day? I know Norse trades a lot.
I was doing much more earlier in the league. My thing is like I don't care enough where once I'm kind of established and have like 50 plus exalts, I'm not, and I have like a few key items, like I have a headhunter, which I had early on in the league. I had a mirror on the first week, that kind of stuff. Once I have that, I'm good. I don't care as long as I have enough to keep my builds going, to keep the stream content going. I think I could potentially go get closer to some of what you guys do. Probably not at your guys' level. You guys are really terrific at it, you know, and I mean that sincerely. You guys, as much shit as I may talk about some of this stuff and how it could be detrimental for a lot of the players, you guys are still terrific at what you do. So I mean, credit where it's due.
Yeah,
But like once
we
I get
like-
to a certain point monetarily,
we
I don't press further than that because I don't need any more currency. You know.
We appreciate the criticism as well. It's never. I like to use these opportunities to say it's not solely from a malicious intent. We want to dominate the market, and we want, if I can cut people out of a segment of the economy, like if I can try to monopolize Cholula and cut people out of the Cholula economy to get a better leverage on Cholula, I'll do it. But I think that's part of the competitive aspect of
It
early
is.
league play.
That is, yeah. The only thing I don't like is anything that is going to be detrimental to the game as a whole. Like if you guys are so if you have such a tight stranglehold on the economy, and other players find it hard to trade or their currency is not worth much because there's so much manipulation going on, that kind of sucks. That's the only thing I really draw any issue at all with. In fact, I believe that the nature of this game encourages people to do exactly what you guys are doing. So I think you guys are completely within the terms of service and the rights of what you should be doing in the game. I just hate to see the game kind of snuff some players out because they can't work their way in because people have like this overarching like omnipresence on the
Too firm of footholds.
yeah, they control everything and it's hard for anyone else to move in. So sometimes it's kind of a little bit frustrating, not for me, but for people that come to my stream and talk to me. You know, why is this price and I don't have any fucking money and it's so hard for me to make currency, and you know we see all the noob questions all the time.
I
And I
pity
think